Today's scripture is James chapter 4, verses 9 and 10. James has shifted his conversation to the early church people to the one of becoming humble in your heart. Based on what we've read so far, the early church folks were not very humble at all. In fact, they were very worldly in the tactics and in the attitudes that they had towards one another. And he's saying you need to humble yourself in order to live a life that is pleasing unto God. And the words here in verse number 9 are a little interesting and very confusing for some people. But if we understand the context in which they're being spoken, it makes perfect sense. He says this in verse 9, "Be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to heaviness." That sounds a little weird for some folks to read, but understanding what he's just finished talking about, he's been speaking about people who are getting their joy and their excitement out of life by living their lives in a very ungodly way and having a very ungodly attitude. So the laughter and the joy he's talking about is not a godly laughter and joy, but it is an earthly, worldly laughter and joy. And he's saying you got to turn away from those things. Let those things be turned to sadness so that you will not seek after the things of the world, but rather you will seek after God. And the only way to truly do that is to do what verse 10 tells us. This is one of my favorite verses in the entire Bible. And it simply says, "Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and He will lift you up." In order for us to be lifted up to God's level, we must humble ourselves down to a place where we are always looking up to God. If we can do that, that is when God will be able to elevate us in life and use us in ways we never thought possible. I'm Pastor John, creating community by sharing Scripture. God bless.
Go tell the world it's not a story.